studies. So we will have some interactive activities, and I hope that you can all be engaged and to be actively participant during the workshop. Also, if you have any question, you can definitely write your questions in the Q&A section. And also at the end of the workshop, we will have some time and we will open, or maybe we can unmute some of your microphones so you can be able to ask questions if you want to ask them, orally. Also, so I welcome you all once again to the workshop, and I hope that you will have a great time ahead. And thank you all for being here. So let me just start by giving you a brief introduction about Hamdan Foundation Award. Hamdan Foundation Award for Distinguished Academic Performance has been established in 1998 in Dubai. And then, it has been expanded to the other Emirates, and it's now also expanded to the Gulf countries as well. And specifically for this, I'm talking about for distinguished students and distinguished university student awards. In April 2017, the award becomes a foundation per a decree issued by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, ruler of Dubai. And the foundation aims to promote distinguished educational systems and educational let me just check this, I'm sorry, and educational ideas based on sound philosophical origins, sustainable development plans, and global competitiveness. So looking at the outcomes of today's workshop, they are 8. First, at the end of this workshop, we will expect that each participant to be able to identify the application conditions for the Distinguished Student and University Students Awards for academic and non-academic fields, also to identify the guidelines for Distinguished Student and University Students Awards for academic and non-academic fields, to identify the rewards and incentives dedicated to the Distinguished Student and University Student Awards, to identify the mechanism used for applying and candidacy for the awards, and number 5, to realize the assessment stages of the Distinguished Student and University Student Awards. Number 6 is to identify the dimension of excellence in relation to the Distinguished Student and University Student Awards, again for the 2 fields, academic and non-academic, and to apply assessment mechanisms of the excellence dimensions of the student award for academic and non-academic fields, and finally to be able to prepare a well-organized file. So these are mainly going to be the objectives of today's workshop. And this is here, we have just the training plan. As you can see, we will have some time for some activities, and we'll have some break time during the workshop. The workshop has been scheduled for 4 hours. And let me just start with an opening activity. And I hope that you are going to respond in the chat box, please. And I just want to know, how much do you know about the Distinguished Students or Distinguished University Students Awards? Have you participated in this award before? Did you attend the workshop before, or this is your first time? If you can just answer, in the chat box, that will be wonderful. Let me just wait for 1 minute for your responses. How much do you know about this award, and what do you want to know from today's workshop? Yeah, you can use the webinar, the chat box, please. Hello, can you hear me? I think some people are answering maybe in the, they are saying the chat is disabled, Mrs. Khawla.
Yes.
It seems like the chat box is disabled.
Okay.
They cannot do it there. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, you can. Yes. Can you fix it, please? I have some students who they have attended the workshop last year. Okay, and some students, I have one student who said this is her first time. Yeah, for your question, Josh Mehta, we are going to talk about this very soon, about the general conditions for applying for the award. Yes, attended it last year. All right. So it seems like some of you they have attended the workshop, and some of you maybe this is your first time to attend the workshop. Okay, so what do you want to learn from this workshop? For those of you, for example, who have attended the workshop, what do you want to know more this time? What are you expecting? I mean, because I just want to know more what you want so I can be able to cover it in the workshop. If you can't use, the chat box, maybe you can still continue to use the Q&A. Is the chat box still disabled? Yeah, just continue in the Q&A. All right. Okay. Yeah, so you can just respond in the Q&A. That will be fine. We want to know the steps in preparing the award file. All right. Okay. I want to know some new things about the non-academic field and related attachments. All right. What especially for the workshop, and we can start attending for the first time. All right. So good. So now I can see what you want to know more about the steps. You want to know more about whether you can apply again or not. And you would like also to know more about the criteria. So let's start now and talk more about, I'm sorry. Let's now talk a little bit more and give you more detailed information about each award. And as you know that, I'm going to talk about the Distinguished Student Award, and I also I'm going to talk about the Distinguished University Student Award. And let me first start by defining what do we mean by Distinguished Student Award. Here we are referring to a distinguished student achieves exceptional performance higher than his peers in one or more academic or non-academic fields, as appears from his behavioral compliance. In the academic field, when we say academic field, what do we mean? We are talking about students who are really excelling, right, in one of the subject matter. When we talk about the non-academic field, we are saying that the student is really achieving exceptional performance, is really doing, excellent, work in the area of non-academic. So it should not be related to anything in the school. It should not be related to any subject matter in the school. Like you can say that I'm very creative, for example, in the area of art, but you don't want to include only the evidences, that are related to the school, right? So we expect you that since you are creative in this area and you are going to apply for the non-academic field, that's mean you will have other evidences to prove that you are really excellent or you are really, let's say, creative in this area, right? By including other evidences. However, you can apply for the academic field in the area of art, right? But in this case, you are going to include all the evidences and all your performance and everything in relation to the school subject matter. So that's where you can see the difference between the academic and non-academic field. All right, so if we are talking now about what are the general conditions, and I'm still now talking about the Distinguished Student Award. So what will be the general conditions? First, the students must be attending to the school on a continuous basis during the current academic year. So, so actually what this means, when I say the current academic year, I'm talking about the academic year that when you are going right to apply for the award. So if you are going to finish the school now, this will be your last year, like you are in the 12th grade, for example, and you will finish this year, you cannot apply for the award because you have to be a continuing student, correct? So that's mean you are going to be in grade 12 during, let's say, fall or September 2023. So you have to be a continuing student. You are attending the school. Okay, number two, the applicant must have attended the training workshop. The students may win the award in the academic or non-academic field only once. So what does that mean? It means if you already received the award, let's say last year, right? in the non-academic field and you would like to apply for the academic field, that's fine. You can do that, but you cannot apply again in the same category, non-academic again, but you can apply for the other one. But let me say one thing that is really important, and I would like to emphasize on that. If you decide to apply for the non-academic, you cannot use the same evidences that you have submitted for the academic. Like now, I gave you an example of a student who can be like creative. Okay, let's say in the area of an art, for example, visual art. And she was, and she was doing, let's say drawing, okay? And she was doing really well in school. Last year, she applied for the academic area, okay, by looking at her performance in the class or in the art subject and so forth. So all the evidences were related to her performance in art, and she submitted all these evidences, correct? And she was awarded, let's say, the award. But now if she wants to apply again, you cannot use the same evidences that you use for the academic if you are planning now to apply for the non-academic. So I think it needs to be clear to everyone. So you need to come up with different evidences specifically for the area of talent that you are going to apply for. All right, for the specific condition also when it comes to the academic field, the students must be academically superior. And what does that mean? Here I'm talking about the students should achieve, right, or a total average not less than 90% in the academic subject for the last 3 years, but for each individual year. So we are not talking about the average for the 3 years, we're talking about each year separately. We expect that the students average to be 90% or above. Also, for the students who are going to submit like descriptive certificates, for example, because there are some schools that they are not using, the percentiles, for example. So what they use descriptive, like excellent, very good, and so forth. So there should be also what we are going to look at, how this should be calculated based on the school's grading system. What does that mean? What excellent means? So it can be clear to us it's going to be 90% or above, so that students can meet the condition or the requirements to apply for the award. And the last thing is that the students may apply for the award in the distinguished student category if you are in grade 8 and grade 12. And as I said earlier, you have to be a students who are attending school, during, I would say, the upcoming academic year. So specific or special conditions for the non-academic, if you're applying for the non-academic field, you also need to still be high achiever, okay, when we talk about your academic. But we are not expecting 90% and above at this time. What we are expecting 80% in the total of your grades of the academic subjects for the 3 years preceding the year of nomination, each year separately. So again, each individual year, your average score should be 80% or above. For the area of creativity or the area of your excellence, right? Or your area of talent. For the non-academic, you need to ensure that you are also going to submit certificates, right? That you have to show that you win, for example, or you have received excellence certificates in this specific area of talent. And it can be like, for example, if you have participated in schools competition in the area of, let's say, performing arts, for example, that can be a good example that you can include to prove that you have a talent in this non-academic area. And finally, the student must attach a recommendation letter from an expert or expertise agency in the field of excellence or creativity. So again, if we're going back to the performing arts, so you need to provide us with also a letter from someone who's expert. It could be an artist, for example, right? Or it can be any entity, let's say in the United Arab Emirates, if they have like, if there is a center, okay, for performing arts and things like that. So we need also to get a letter from an expert to prove that you are really talented or you are really, achieving at a very high level or superior level in this area of non-academic field. All right, for the special conditions for students from the Gulf countries, here the students, they cannot apply, they are in grade 8 or 9 or 10. I'm sorry, 8 or 9. So the students, they need to apply if they are in grade 10, 11, and 12, okay? And they are entitled to participate only once, so they cannot apply more than once for the award. And another thing that is very important, the applicant must be a citizen of the applying country. So if you're applying from Saudi Arabia or Kuwait, you need to be a citizen of that country. Okay, for the rewards and incentives for the distinguished student, the winner will receive 30,000 and a trophy, and they will attend the honoring ceremony, and they will be eligible actually also for a training program. The training program is going to be related to your area of talent or your area of excellence. So just to support you and to enhance your skills. Okay, so this is about the Distinguished Student Award. Now I'm going to talk about University Student Award. And for the University Students Award also, we do have some general conditions, and also we have specific or special conditions. For the general condition, the applicant must be first an undergraduate students only. So this is not open for graduate students, not for master's students, not for PhD students, only undergraduate students. The students must be attending to the university again on continuous basis. So during the time that you're applying for this, and I'm still going to say that we're talking about the next academic year. So you have to be in the school, right? You still be in the university. Otherwise, you are not going to be eligible to apply for this award if you are going to graduate this summer. The student must have completed at least 2 academic years and completed 60 credit hours. The students must be enrolled in a university accredited by the UAE Ministry of Education, and the applicant shall provide also contact information of 2 professors. And then number 6, the applicant must have the foundation to participate, to attend the workshop, and this is also will be applied for the undergraduates, for the school students as well. And number 7, an undergraduate students may have won the award in the academic or non-academic field only once during the past 2 cycles. So the same thing. So the students also for the university student, they can apply if they want to apply for the other field. If you apply, let's say for academic, you'll be eligible to apply for the non-academic, and please be sure to not use the same evidences as I indicated earlier. Okay, for the specific conditions for the academic field, here, this is, of course, in addition to the general conditions, the students must score a GPA of not less than 3.6 out of 4.6, right? So we're talking, again, the students has to be excellent students. So during the past 2 years, in addition to the year of nomination. So the students here are looking at the cumulative average of the students, okay? The student must attach a certificate stating an A average if his university is not using the GPA, like, for example, out of 4. If they are using a different type of GPA, like 5.0 points, it needs to be clearly stating that the student's certificate or his performance is considered as an A level. Okay. Moving to the specific conditions also for the university students, the student must also hold certificate of excellence showing his excellence during the past 2 years in addition to the year of nomination. And again, here I'm talking about his excellence in the area of non-academic field. The student must attach a nomination letter from an expert or expertise agency. So this is the same, it applies for university students, right? The same like what we have just now discussed for the school students, for the Distinguished Student Award. For the rewards and incentives for the distinguished university students, they will receive 40,000 for the winner and a certificate of appreciation, Excellence also trophy, and also they will have a chance to attend, of course, the ceremony, and they will be also eligible to be enrolled in a training program, and a training program is going to be in the area of excellence, and that's the aim of this program, is really to enhance the students' skills and abilities and knowledge in their area of talent. Okay, if we talk now about what are the general guidelines, right, for all the students, regardless of if you are applying for a distinguished student or a distinguished university student. What do you need to do first? The first thing you need to look at, you need to apply through http://tahkim.ha.ae, right? So the application is electronically, that's where you need to submit your application. Number two, all submitted works shall constitute a property of the foundation after their submission. Did you hear that? So all the evidences that you are going to provide to the foundation, they are going to be at their property. So you are not owning these evidences anymore. And that's why I'm saying, if you are going to apply for the other field, you don't need to use the same evidences, because now this is our you cannot claim, the same evidences or to use them again. Number three, the foundation may publish the contents of the successful, but of course, let me just clarify one thing. Of course, if we are talking about the evidences which are related to your, to the general, right, general requirements or general conditions, like, to have, to bring a letter from the expert, or if we're talking about your school certificate or the university to show that, your GPA score, this is going to be the same, correct? But what I'm talking about, the evidence is in relation to the area of talent. That's what I'm referring to. The foundation may publish the content of the successful application after the announcement, and this is just to use it as a best practices. Number four, the nominee shall complete the award nomination form subject to the conditions as per the award count and attachments. So there is also a specific number of words, and I'm just going to talk about it in number five. The applicants shall provide an introductory summary of each one of the dimensions of excellence and their dimensions under the nomination application, provided that the total number of words for all access does not exceed 100 words. So we expect you just to write very briefly, no more than 100 words about the area or the dimension or the standard, right? And you will see that in the application. There is a space for you to write briefly about your performance in a specific standard or substandard. So continuing to continue about our general guidelines, the proofs and documents shall be limited to the last 3 years, plus the year of submission, and for the university students, the last 2 years, okay? Okay, number seven, the applicant shall ensure that all documents and proofs are approved, stamped, and dated. So this is very important. So if you are going to submit any evidence, right, without a stamp from the school or from any official entity, or if there is no signature, this is not going to be counted. So you need to ensure that you are going to provide, the foundation with good and strong evidences, okay, and to include all these requirements. Number eight, please keep and provide all proofs and documents if requested by the jury. So you need to ensure that you have some also like hard copy, just in case if they need any more information, and they will ask you maybe when you are coming for the interview, if you are going to be selected to the second stage, so you can be ready, to provide it to the jury committee. Number nine, the more authorities issuing the certificates, proof and attachments and their levels, okay? So, so you want to ensure that, like, for example, the certificates that you are going to provide us, they need to become from, an authority that is really an official authority, right? Or official center or official educational entity. And number 10, the size of attachments and the number of required proofs must be complied with in respect of each dimension of the access of excellence, not exceeding 7 attachments per dimension. So for each standard or each dimension, you don't want to give us more than 7 evidences, right? And when you are going to write about each one of these, substandard, I told you there is going to be a space for you. You don't want to write more than 100 words. So these are the conditions. So just give you a very brief, I guess, hints, you can call them like tips to help you, when you are considering, you're preparing your application. Before you start to prepare your application, please be sure to read the guidelines and all the conditions for application, okay? Visit the website, and I think you can also find, they have the participation guide, so you can read that too, so you can have more information about all the conditions. Number two, because you don't want to put a lot of effort on something and that's not going to be counted, right? So you want to ensure that you know everything and you know all the guidelines, because that will definitely help you in preparing your application in a more organized manner. Number two, revise the access of assessments. So look, and today we are going to talk about it, what we call it the rubric. So you need to see that how are the jury committee, how are they going to assess each standard that you are going to, your evidences, proofs that you are going to submit. Because they are all going to use this rubric, and based on the rubric, they will give you the points. So it's good for you to know ahead, right? What are they going to look for, so you can ensure that you are going to provide them with the best evidences and with the strong evidences that you have. Because sometimes you may have more than seven evidences. Remember, we said that there is a limit, also a maximum for the number of evidences for each individual dimension. So you need to think about which one to include, which one is better, which one is very strong, so you can really include it. Gathering all data and documents connected to each criterion, right? So you need to prepare everything. Organization of all attachments. And believe me, if you are not going to be well organized, or if your file is not well organized, you are not really helping the reviewer to see your performance. And that's going to be at a disadvantage for you, because you may lose points, right? Because the reviewer, he doesn't have time to try to find all the information. You need to make it clear. You need to make it easy. You need to make it well organized. You need to write, to give it like heading and subheadings, so it can be clear and straightforward, all the documents that you are going to provide, so it can be accessible and it can be easy for the jury committee to review it. Okay, other things that you may need to consider while you are filing, when you are, working on the application, you are trying to include all the documents in your application. You need to ensure that, as we just indicated, that the organization is number one thing that you need to always think about. Try to come up with the serial number, right, for your attachments. Select the suitable attachment directly connected to the access or to the dimensions. Ensure that attachments are not repeated. Make sure that all attachments are copied, and the applicant must keep the original copies for presentation before the assessment committee on request. So as I said, you need to prepare both. So you have that file, and it will be good for you just to have hard copy, just in case if you are going to be asked to bring it with you. Keep the attachments whose size or number exceeded the set limit, and keep them ready for submission at the request of the assessment committees. And after you complete, I guess, your application, go back and review your application, review your documents, ensure that you have submitted all the required documents, ensure that you have really reviewed, as I said earlier, the rubric. So ensure that first the nomination application is completely filled, ensure that the data and documents are relevant to each criterion. Don't put something irrelevant. Truly, you'll waste your time and you'll waste the reviewer's time, and you are not going to get the credit for it. So you know it well, and you know better than us what is really related and what is really could be considered as a good evidence to prove, right, your talent in this specific area. Ensure that the proofs are robust. Number 4, ensure that the data and documents attached to the nomination application are authentic and correct. And as I said earlier, you want to ensure that they are stamped, there is a signature, they are from official entity, and so forth. Okay, so if I go to number 5, ensure that attached proofs are clear. And I will say that again, they need to be clear, because sometimes some students, they take screenshots, or pictures, and they are blurred. They are not very clear. So you want to ensure they are clear, the date is clear, the signature is clear. For example, if you are submitting a certificate. So be sure that all the evidences that you are going to provide are clear. Ensure that the sound and images in the electronic attachments also are clear. Number 7, ensure that proofs and documents are recent, right? We have already mentioned the number of the years that you can include. The last 3 years for the school students, and 2 years before, of course, the year of the application that you are going to submit for the university students. Ensure all the documents and proofs are approved, stamped, and dated by the competent and relevant authority. Okay, so when it comes to the organization, I think I remember one of you have asked about that. She said, I want to know more, or he said, I'm sorry, I don't remember the gender of the student who asked about this, but there was a question about how can we organize our files. So that's the way how you can do it. You need to know, maybe you need to know our conditions, and that will help you, of course, but I'm going to give you some tips. The higher scores are granted when the attachment is stronger. So when you are organizing your evidences and you are including your attachments, you want to include what you are going to include is really something is strong, is robust, right? It's a good evidence. If you have materials, clarification, addition, or explanation of your efforts, submit the same within the attachment. So don't include an additional attachment, because remember, you have a maximum for the attachments. Number 3, all submitted works, documents, and proofs shall be the property of the foundation. Number 4, diversity of the grantors of certificates, proofs, and attachment is preferable. So don't rely on one center, for example, right? And to provide us like with 10 different certificates, for example, in 10 different dimensions or criteria, but from one center. This is not good. What we expect you to submit, because it's really, you want to prove that I'm really doing really well, right? And this is my area of talent, and I'm an excellent student in this area. So we expect that you will bring us, or you are going to include more evidences from different entities, from different centers, from different people, right? To prove that you are really a talent in this specific area. So diversity is very important. And also the diversity in the types of evidences. And you are going to see that when we are going to talk about the rubric, you will see that diversity, it plays a significant role when it comes to the grading, the points that you will receive. Okay, number 5, higher scores are granted when the grantors of the proof are diversified. I said that. 6, the proof issued by the private centers or institutes are calculated within the school level. See? So if you are going to, if you have a center that issue a certificate for you, right, in one of the dimensions, and it is a private center, it's not a public center, it's not a governmental entity, it will be considered as a school level. It will not be considered as social society, let's say, level, right? So this is important for you to think about. So if you have a government, maybe you need to understand that will be better and that will be more stronger. In case of joint work, the students must attach a proof of his active role. It's fine. You can definitely submit something that you have done, with the group work. That's okay. And we know, and we all value the group work, but you need to show the jury committee your effort, your active role. What exactly did you do? We want to know your contribution, right? And it has to be, of course, a significant contribution. And you need to prove that. Maybe you need to ask your teacher, the group members as well, right? So they all need to sign, and you need to stamp that. the proof to show that what have you done exactly in this group work. Okay, and again, if we are looking at number 8, avoid including more than one proof in a single electronic attachment for the attachment clarity. And I think you will know better. We are just, what we are saying here, we need to ensure that whatever you are going to submit, it has to be clear. Okay. Number 9, use known audiovisual programs of the recorded proofs such as PLC, MP4, and so forth. The number of attachments required in the website must not be exceeded, and the first attachments will be, let me just read that, will be approved. Okay, so these are basically, I would call them hints, right, or tips to help you and support you in organizing your application. Okay, so now let's talk about the application journey. We have here about four stages. So I'll start with the first one. The first one, which you are doing now, which is great. You are attending the workshop. And the second one will be the applicant shall apply for the award via the foundation website. The third, that's what will happen after you submit your application. We will have the jury committee, right? They will review all the applications, and then they are going to select, of course, some of them, not all of them. They do have specific criteria, and the foundation also, they will have to, they will have a say, in that. And then some of you will be contacted to come for the personal interviews. And then after the personal interviews, there will be the last stage, which is the announcements of the results. Okay, so this is basically the initial assessment. If you want to know how does it go, that's how it goes. There will be a jury. They will start to look at the electronic application, okay, or application or your files, and they are going to look at it. They will, they are going to evaluate it based on the rubric. That's what I have talked about earlier, and we will discuss it at the end of the workshop. And they will be looking, of course, at all the proofs, all the evidences, right? And based on that, you will be given points. And after that, based on the points you will get, they will decide who is going to be eligible, right, to be participate in the interview phase. So for those who are going to be contacted, right, to participate in the interview phase, they will also come and they are going to meet with the jury committee, and they are going to ask them some questions. Maybe there are some areas they need more clarification in, and so forth. So that's going to be mainly the, the interview. And based on your performance in the interview, they will make, of course, their recommendations, and they will submit it to the foundation to come up with the final the final decision on who is going to be awarded, the award. If it's going to be the distinguished student or the university student award. So I would like to stop here and to ask you whether you have any questions about what I have just now talked about. Any questions about the conditions? Any questions about the organization of the application file? Let me see the Q&A. If you have anything about this area, what I just now covered, it's better you ask me now. So when we move on, we will be talking about the standards, and the dimensions more in depth. Okay. Can the documents and certification go back to the first school years, or does it have to be? Actually, if you are in grade 8, Fatima, if you are in grade 8, of course, because we said the last 3 years, correct? So that's mean grade 7, grade 6, and grade 5. If you are going to be in grade 8, let's say next fall, you have from grade 5 documents, you can definitely include them. And because 3 years, that you'll be fine. Let's see if you have any other questions. Serial number of attachment should be a section wise or in a continuation. I think you will decide on that. But you want to ensure that it's going to be organized, right? If you want to do it, for the whole thing, you can. Some students sometimes do it in this way. And if you want to do it for each section, personally, I'd prefer section-wise. But I think you can do it either way. Just has to be well organized and clear. Can you add links to the submission? Of course you can. Yeah. But you want to ensure that your links are going to be, easily they can be opened, because most of the time, sometimes it's very difficult, and sometimes you don't have an access to that. So the clarity, I guess, and the accessibility are very important. So you may need to think about that. Okay, I would like to have examples for the required things. The required things are like, what do you mean? I think if you give me more, because it's not clear to me. Like, we're talking about certificate, right? Of the students, for example, school certificate, to prove that they have, performed, or their score is 90%. Or if we say a letter from an expert, a letter will say that the student is really, talented in this area. So I'm not sure what type of example are you asking about. Okay, the steps, we have already talked about that. Let me see what else. Can we include more than one subject if we excel? No, Uvur Vaishnav, excuse me if I mispronounce your name, but I'm sorry, you can't. You need to specify one area of talent. Okay, so if you are really, really, let's say, gifted in math and science, or talented in these two areas, you want to select one area. Because what will happen is that your application will be removed totally. So you don't want to lose this opportunity. So you need to make a decision based on the evidences that you have. Okay, the stronger the evidences you have, if it's in the science area or in the math, you go for that. But you cannot apply for two areas, when it comes to, let's say, two academic areas. Same thing for creativity or for the non-academic field. So you cannot apply for two areas, let's say performing arts, dancing, right, and singing, for example. No, not two areas, only one area. Okay, and yeah, the size of attachments, I have already talked about that. We have already talked about the number of the years. Yeah, for the workshop, yeah, you can take a screenshot, yes, yep, or scan the certificate, that will be fine. For the non-academic, yes, you can definitely, but it should not be, the sole, I guess, or as we talked before about the diversification, right? So you need to bring different, evidences and proofs that you are really creative in this area. So if I'm, as I said, if I'm creative in art, I can provide you some examples of my artwork in school, that's fine. But also what maybe your that you participated in exhibitions or you participated in contests, right? It can be school and it can be outside of school, but it should not always be related to the subject matter. That's what is going to be maybe not acceptable. Like, you get me? So you cannot include, for example, your score in the art class as a proof for the non-academic field, for example. Okay, non-academic certificates. I think for the workshop, as long as you attended, I think Mrs. Khawla will explain to you about whether I think you will receive a certificate. I don't know, Ms. Khawla, are you around? They have a question about the certificate for the workshop. What are the other certificate and attachments needed? My son is grade 8. We have only 5, 6. So you don't have grade 7? Why you don't have grade 7? If he's in grade 8, so we expect 5, 6, and 7 last 3 years, right? And if he's currently in grade 8, or I don't know why you don't have 7. This is, I don't understand that one. Okay, I am in grade 9 right now. I have few international titles. Why did I miss that one? Sorry, let's go back. I don't know. I don't understand this. I have few international titles and oh, my computer is playing with me. So is that question about I'm grade 9 and I have two international, can you please make it clear to me because to me it's not clear. I don't understand your question. I don't know. I'm not even able now to stop it in your question to be able to see it again. Okay, I have few international titles. However, I got these few months before 6. So are these eligible? I don't understand that. I got these few months before 6. I don't understand. Just please write the question again, Luhith Akilan. So please write your question one more time. In non-academic field, can I talk about my achievements outside of school? Yeah, definitely you can. Yes. Can we add, but we expect you definitely to prove that you are also high achiever, of course, in this area, let's say in science or technology. We talked about that. You don't want to combine two areas, okay? Can we add certificate from more than 3 years ago? No, the limit is 3 years. So the subject other than science, math, and English also math. Yeah, any subject matter will be fine. No, for the average. They will be looking at your certificate for each individual academic year, Danish, right? In Inaya, Danish. So that's how they are going to look at it. That's how it is. So you need to prove that you are a student who receive 90% and above total average per academic year for all the subjects, not only the science areas. Okay, and Alina, if award is academically scored above 90% and she has been winning many inter-school activities in sports, music, can we apply in the academic field? You can. Yeah, of course you can. And you just need to think about, look at all the criteria and all these dimensions. And if you feel that will be good for you, yes, yeah. But again, when you say that you are good, you are scoring 90%, but you are going to specify, right? Let's say, if you say, I am really highly or talented students in the area of sports. So that's mean also here, your scores in the physical education class, right? That's a proof that you are doing really well in this area in the school. And you are going to provide us with some evidences to prove that, right? In addition to that, you can provide other evidences, that's fine. Yeah, grade 7, yeah, that will be fine. So that will be okay, Shinaj. Okay, Jovita, if I'm applying for a non-academic award in the music section, can I mention awards won within the school? You can. Yes, you can. That will be fine. Okay, are valid that were provided during COVID time? Yes, Amit Sarma, that will be fine. Just what is important that the e-certificates, as we said, they need to be, to have what? Signature stamped and to be official and from an official entity. Okay. And Malak, I'm applying for academic. Is it possible for me to submit certificates? If they are applicable, you see that they can add, to your file. Yeah, it's not this, like even for the academic field, you are going to see that we have some dimensions that are not related directly to the academic, correct? But there is, I think the first criteria, it's about excellence, excellence in academic. So this one, you want to prove, definitely you will include anything that is related to this area of academic that you have indicated or you have, included as this is your area of talent. But yes, you can include evidences of non-academic. And I think in one of these dimensions, we'll see that you are not even allowed to submit like school grades, right? In one of the dimension, even if you're applying for the academic area. So it is possible. Okay, I have got a few international titles that I received few months before 6th grade, which means I got it a little before 3 years. Oh, so if you are in grade 9, everything that will say 8, 7, and 6. If they are before grade 6, I'm sorry, they are not going to be included, because really the jury committee, they will look at the year, the month, and everything. So I will say no, unfortunately. Okay, Shamsa, are there any extracurricular activities related to this, such as challenging presentations? I'm not sure if I understand your question, but if you are saying if you can include participation in challenges, that's what you mean, competitions? Yes, definitely you can include that. Extracurricular activities will be fine to include evidences for that. Okay, if you are Mahra, if you are an academic, can I mention in the part of my hobbies that I do art? I don't think we have hobbies anymore. Hobbies, it was in the previous standards, right? For the previous, Hamdan Distinguished Student Award, but not anymore. So we don't have this. We'll talk in a while about the standards. And then Muhammad, if a certificate is stamped and dated by private sector, yes, it will be considered as a school label. Public speaking skills come under non-academic award, right? Yes. Okay, Abacus skills considered as a talent, yes. Non-academic, I agree. I can choose only one area of subject. Yes, correct, Alina. Isabel, are awards achieved in grade 9? Yes, if you are in grade 9, you can include everything, right? All evidences for your grade and the last 3 years. That will be fine. I can apply for the non-academic field. Yes, you can, Josh. Yes. Okay. Where did I go? Are we done? Just ensure that I don't leave anyone or any comments behind. Give me a moment, please. I think I did. Okay, I believe I answered all your questions, and now we will move on to talk about the standards. Okay, I think we talked about the academic and non-academic field. So let me just give you a brief here introduction about the dimensions, right? Or the standards or the access, whatever you want to call it, for the academic and the non-academic field. For the non-academic field, we have 3 dimensions: creativity, societal contributions, continuity, and future plans. For the academic, excellence, societal contributions, continuity, and future plans. So if you can see, just by looking, I think it's clear that there are 2 standards. They are the same. They are exactly the same, right? For the non-academic and the academic field. And this is actually, it's for both, for distinguished students award or distinguished university students award. So the main difference is in the first criteria, okay? For non-academic field, creativity, and for the academic field is excellence. When it comes to the societal contributions, it's exactly the same, and I'm going to talk about it. There is no difference between those who are going to apply for the academic or those who are going to apply for the non-academic. But for the continuity and future plans, there is a difference, because this last standard is related to your area of excellence. So if you're applying in the non-academic field, whatever you are going to include here is going to be related to your area of the non-academic, right? And for the academic, it has to be related to your academic area. So that's the major difference. Now let's move on and talk more specifically about the Distinguished Student and University Students Awards in the academic field. So as I just indicated, these are the three major areas or criteria. Now let's talk about each one, right? And have more explanation, and we'll try to give some examples and so forth. So I can ensure that you are all, you receive, I guess, the information that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so for the first criterion, which is for the both awards, right? Excellence. We're talking now about academic. I'm going to talk about the academic first, and then I'll be talking about the non-academic field. Okay, so for the excellence criteria here, what is this about? What are we really expecting from you to submit? What do you want to think about the evidences that you have? So to know the evidences that you need to include, you need to understand what is the standard is all about. It's about how do you employ, okay, your skills and abilities in an academic field, in this area of talent, right? Such as if you are, let's say, talented in the area of language, linguistics, math, science, or technology, and you need to specify one area. So you need to show that how did you employ your abilities and skills in this specific area in a manner that exceeds expectations and distinguishes you from your peers, right? So here we are not only talking about you are really excellent or you are really talented in an area, but the issue is how are you employing this excellence in other areas? And we'll talk more about it, and you will see now, we'll see some examples. This is it. So by just looking at these sub-criteria, okay, each one of those or dimensions, it can tell you or give you more, I guess, information about what is expected from you to submit for this area to prove that you are excellent in language, for example, in mathematics, you are excellent in technology. First sub-criteria or the first dimension is distinguished performance. Second, development methods. Third, leadership skills. Fourth, excellence in society. So these are all sub-standards, right? The main standard is excellence, and these are the four sub-standards. So you need to prove or to submit an attachments and evidences and documents for each individual one. And here are the points. It's very clear. And actually, 450 points for academic distinguished students, okay? And we have made some changes, actually, if you have, I guess, if you applied before, right, for this award, you are going to see that there are some changes in the points because we have changed the last, the continuity and the future plans standard. It has been changed now for the students, for the academic distinguished student. Okay, so let's go back now. So if you look at these, and here you have the points, it's clear for each standard or substandard. So now let's move on and look at the university students, okay? For the distinguished student, it was 450 points, right? For the university students, it's 400 points. And these how we are distributing the points, but they are exactly the same criteria. So now let's define them. So you can know what is it about, right? For each individual standard or dimension or substandard. For the distinguished performance, the dimension evaluates the student's distinguished performance in a specific academic field in which he or she achieves advanced position and remarkable superiority higher than his or her peers at the school or university, local or at the international level, right? So here you want to prove that you have some evidences to show that you are really distinguished student in this area. You are excellent, right? You are really achieving at a very advanced position. But the requirement here is that it should not be related to the student's grades. So here you have to prove that you are achieving advanced. Advanced position can be like if you participated, for example, in a contest in the school for math, for example, in the area of mathematics, and you are one of the winner, right? Number one, you are ranked number one, two, for example, in this contest, that's an advanced position. If you are a university student, for example, and your name was included in the dean's list, that's another example. Okay, so here, that's what we mean by advanced position. Development methods, and I think that's clear here, we're talking about what are the curricular and extracurricular methods that you use to develop your abilities and skills in this academic area. Okay, so we are not expecting you only to say that I'm doing this because I'm very good in mathematics because the homework that I'm doing in school, right? And because I'm reading the textbook. No, you need also to include what other extracurricular methods that you are using. Did you attend workshops? Have you attended webinars? Did you go to YouTube and watch some videos, for example? What else did you do, right? What kind of practice that have you been engaged in, for example, to improve your skills in this academic area? So this is what we are talking about. Examples could be workshops, courses, online courses, attending lectures, and so forth. Okay, so moving on to now, I'm talking about the other sub-criteria, which is the leadership skills. Okay, so here you want to prove that you have the abilities of a great leader. And basically, for this award, the focus is really in two main skills: communication skills and problem-solving skills. So you need to prove that you have the ability to communicate well, to articulate your message very well. You have the ability, for example, to convince others. You can show examples of how you were able to communicate your ideas clearly, for example. You can show by providing some examples of your presentations that you have done, for example, to show that how you can present by using an excellent communication skills. So it's not like you'll just give me a brief description that you can communicate well. No, we want to see it. And you want to prove it. And this a skill that you can definitely prove with the video, with the, for yourself, like, for example, if you were, if you participated in different events, for example, right? And you were you were a speaker. That's a very good evidence, for example, to show people how you can communicate to the people, how you can use verbal and non-verbal communication, right? And so forth. So that's what we are expecting. When you're talking about the problem-solving skills, you also want to prove that I can solve a problem. I have the ability to do that. Okay, but what kind of evidence that you can provide? You can provide me with an evidence to explain to the jury committee that I was able to solve a problem between two of my classmates. I was able to talk or to solve a problem that is related, for example, to the environment, right? We know that today we have a lot of challenges when it comes to the climate change, to the global warming, and so many things it's happening, in the world. So you can say that, what have you done to solve any problem, right? In your community, in the school, and so forth. So these are the things you want to think about. So it has to be something is really tangible, a good evidence and proof that you have really been able, right, to solve a problem. All right, so if we move on to the second sub-criteria, the excellence in society. So here what we are talking about, the effect of the student's academic excellence on society. Okay, I am a student who I can say that I have a very high ability in mathematics. Okay, great. And I have proved that by providing some certificates that I participated, in different contests in the school. I was provided, with a certificate from the educational zone because I was brilliant in math. Okay, What did you do to the society? What kind of impact do you have? This is really what is the excellence in society is all about, right? So what impact do you have when we talk about the society that you are living in? At your school level, you can think about it at the university level, at the local, at the international level. You can do so many things. If you ask me about an example, if you are, for example, let's say talented in the area of mathematics, you can develop, for example, a YouTube channel, right? In any area of mathematics that you can see that it's difficult for your classmates to understand, and you try to explain, let's say, this difficult concept in math in a very simple way, in a very creative way, right? And that's it. That's an impact. But how can I ensure that, people are really getting the message, or they have really learned from what you have shared, or they have really, and it has really, like, let's say, they benefited, right, from your video. So we need to see the interaction, people response, people feedback on this video. That's another proof that you can provide. And this is what we want to see in our students who are talented like you. Your impact on the society, your knowledge. How are you transferring the knowledge with other students, with other people, with the community, and so forth. So this is what excellence in society is all about. All right, so let's have this activity together. And I think now the chat box is working. So maybe you can answer in the chat box. I will go to the chat box to look at your answers. Okay, now answer with yes or no on the examples that express the students' achievements of advanced position in the academic field. And remember, advanced position does not mean high, it's not necessarily mean high scores, right? Or grade. Could be a position, can be the rank the students that they received in a contest or so forth. So now, academic excellence, yes or no? First rank in the school, yes or no? Entering the student's name in the list of distinguished students in mathematics. Second rank in the International Swimming Award. The student's team achieves the third rank in charge of football competition. So please say let's say from 1 to 5 by yes and no, and I will go and check now your answers. Give you 1 minute. So you need to look at this achievement of advanced position in the academic field, right? So let's see your answers now. Okay, yes, 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 no, 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 that's not correct. Let's see. Most of you are saying yes, 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 and no, 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 that's not correct. Yes, 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 no, 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 that's not correct. Let's see other answers. Or maybe they are at the top. Any other answers? It's not right. If you said yes, 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 no, no, that's not correct. Let me see more answers. I just want to see yes, 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 no, because I don't have time to look to read now. Yes, 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 no, 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 that's not right. No, no, no. How come? Okay, let's go back because all of you are saying yes for the first 3. Let's see, how did you say that? Look at the question. What did I say? I said answer yes or no, okay? If the students has received high achievement or advanced position in the academic field. In the academic field, did you see I have here what underlined, right? Because It has to be specific to me. I need to know which field. Here, the students say, they're giving me a certificate with academic excellence, but in which area? It's not specific. That's why it's no. The second one, first rank in the school. All right. And what? It's not clear. Field is not clear. And I just want, the reason I did it like that, because I do want to highlight this and to emphasize on this. Like when you are going to submit any certificates, please be sure to ensure that the academic area or your talent area, it's clear. Okay, technology, math, science has to be stated clearly in the certificate. But if it's going to be like general certificate, it will not be counted by the jury committee. And that's why I did it in this way. All right, so number 3 is correct, yes. And the other 2, of course, is clear. It's not. I hope my message was clear to you. Okay, move on. Now, I want you to write for me. Give me 2 evidences, 2 examples of evidences the students can provide, and please write it in the chat box, because I'm not opening now the Q&A. The Q&A will leave it to the questions. So now let's focus on the activity. Give me 2 proofs, okay, or evidences that you can submit to prove that you have excellent communication skills and problem-solving skills. I'll give you 2 minutes. We still have 1 more minute. Okay. Let's see your responses. Okay, I have here an example. Let's see if I can go maybe all the way up. Okay, for problem solving, captain of student council, founder of youth run organization. Okay, let me ask you a question, Cathal. How can this be? I mean, we said that the proof, it has to be clear to show that you were able to solve a problem. If you are a captain, that's an indication you have a problem solving skill. Maybe you need to provide us with an example of a dispute or an argument or an issue in the council, and then what you have done, okay? But you cannot just write that or give us an example that you were a captain. That's not enough. We need an indication that you have the ability of solving problems. Speaking in workshops, okay, yeah, if you are going to submit a video to show us that you are speaking in the workshop, that will be great evidence, okay? Sashimi. Let me see other examples. Yes, speech in Toastmaster Club. Okay, Kenken International winner, great. Okay, good examples. Implementing recycling initiative in school, that will be wonderful. So, and here you need to show, of course, a good evidence that you have really, you have, I guess, initiated this initiative, right? Because, and to show that how you are trying to solve the issue of the recycling industry. So that would be good. Okay, other examples, organize a program to resolve a social issue. Yeah, very good. Good debater, wonderful. That's a good example of communication skills. Yes, but you need to tell us, like for the problem solving creativity, found the solution for what? So you need to give us, as I said, a concrete example of a situation or a case that you had where you have solved a problem or you come up with a creative solution. So we need to know exactly what did you do. Okay, winning a competition on sustainability and other such global problems. Yes, that would be very good. If it's a social problem and it's clearly stated in the certificate, that could be a good one. So resolve an issue in the school and community, yes, but be sure to provide us with the community, the jury committee, I'm sorry, with good evidences from the community, right, to prove that you have really resolved the issue. Selected in leadership positions? No. If I'm selected in the leadership position, that does not, implicitly, right? It means that I have the leadership skills, which one of them, the problem solving, but I need to see it more explicit. So you need to give us more example. Maybe if a teacher has selected you, probably you want the teacher to write this down. She has selected you for this leadership position because you have, let's say, excellent communication skills, cooperation skills, and problem solving abilities. That would be good. You get me? So I hope that it's clear for you now what kind of proofs that you can provide. All right, so moving on now to the second criterion, the societal contributions. And as I indicated earlier, the only difference between the distinguished student and distinguished university student is the points, okay? But other than that, mainly we are talking about the same standards and substandards. Okay, what is it about? Here we are talking about, see, again, this is about your impact on the society. But the difference is, earlier, we were talking about the impact in your area of talent, if you remember, right? Here, I'm talking generally speaking. What impact do you have to the society? We want to see to what extent, right, you have a sense of social responsibility toward your society. So this is not related in any way to your area of talent. See, that's why I'm highlighting it in green. So what are the voluntarily initiatives or efforts that you're undertaking by the student in any field other than the field of student excellence? So here the requirement is you want to include initiatives, efforts, any kind of volunteer work that you have done, but has nothing to do with your area of talent. So be careful. You don't want to include here anything that's related to your area of talent. Okay, let's take a look at the sub-standards for this criterion. Number one, identify the initiatives and its societal field. Okay, so you need to be able to identify what did you do? What is the initiative? And remember, we have a space for you, right, to write down. And the related field, like you need to make it clear. What did you do? For which society, which group of people that you are trying to, to do your initiative or to implement your initiative, or with who did you work, for example, if it's a volunteer work, and so forth. So give us a clear and I guess comprehensive description about what you did, but of course, not too long. Again, you have 100 words, so you need to be very clear to the point, okay? Looking at the sub-criteria, identifying the efforts. So here, first we said, what are the initiatives that you have done, right? Here we said, what efforts did you do to implement your initiative? So you have an initiative, you explain to us, what efforts did you do? And finally, the impact. Okay, you did an initiative, you have done so many efforts, you did like, let's say, flyers, posters, you did workshops, yeah, right? So these are all efforts. Okay, what is the impact, right? So we want to see, of course, a positive impact of the implementation of your initiative, right? On the students, personality, school, and the local and external society. So here you need to say that the impact of what you have done at the personal level, what the benefit that you gained from participating in this activity? What are the benefit the society right, gained also from your initiative and so forth. So now I will give you 10 minutes. And what I want you to do, I want you to think about that. First, I want you to write down an initiative. I said group, but not necessarily to be group. You can do it individually. That's fine. If you have a friend of you can work together. That's fine too. So basically, what you need to do: propose an initiative and identify efforts that you made to make the initiative a success or to implement your initiative, right? And give us an examples of what could be the positive impact on the society. So three things. What is the initiative? What are the efforts? And please give me three efforts minimum, a minimum of three efforts, okay? That you have been made or engaged in to be able to implement your initiative successfully. And finally, what are the impacts on the society? So now you have 10 minutes and I will come back and ask you after 10 minutes. So please think about it and write your response in the chat. And after 10 minutes, I will open the camera to look to your responses. You have 10 minutes, please. Okay, so now 10 minutes. Let me see your responses for the initiative. Okay, let's see if you have any example. Okay, here the initiative. That's first example I see for Miseb Moha. Initiative help to clean the local area as pollution has increased. Okay, so the initiative is to clean the local area. The efforts cleaning the area. Okay, so participating in the cleaning of the area. I raise awareness about it. Okay, to the community that there is a need, right, to do that. And pollution and its effect. Good. I form a group to take care of what? I don't know why it goes too fast. But that's a very good initiative, cleaning the area and to form the group to do an awareness, to participate in it. That's definitely a very good example. So I just want to see what is your impact. So let me see if I can maybe read it like that better. Okay, so clean the society. Okay, and then people understand the danger of pollution. Okay, so people understand the danger of pollution, that's the impact, right? So how can you prove that? So you may need to give us like a letter, right, from the community members to say that they were not aware of the danger, for example, of the pollution, and now they understand that. Number two, you indicated that people start to take care of their locality. Okay, so that's also, we need the proof for this, right? What was the situation before and what happened after your initiative? So the key will be, as far as what you have, right, what you have included in written is good, but the issue will be the evidences. The evidences, they need also to be good and robust to prove that. So that's good. Okay, another, reusing books. If people have used books that they do not want to read again, they can give us charity to the poor. Okay. So Abrar, your idea is great. Reusing books initiative. The efforts are teaching the poor on how to read, providing quality books, and revive damaged books. Okay. These are all good. So teaching the poor on how to read, the aim is that for them to value, right? You want them, because you are talking about reusing books. So you want to tell them that there is a value for the book so they don't throw them away. I think that's the assumption, right? Why are you using it? Providing quality books. Providing quality books. How can providing quality books be as an effort to reuse the books? That's not an effort. Are you talking about an outcome? That can be an outcome, right? That's an impact. Like you have some books, they were valuable. For example, they were good quality books. You did not throw them away. You reuse them again. Or are you talking about you reuse the books and to come up with a new book. I guess trying to figure out what do you mean by providing quality books. Okay, positive impact, basic education for all, yes, and of course you need to prove that, right? Sometimes the difficult part will be the evidences, how you can prove what you are saying, okay? Getting to know the world, okay? You are talking about reusing books, so it will be good to make it very clear and to make the impacts, right, to be directly related to that. So I guess getting to know the world, I think it will be difficult, really, to prove it. Unless if you have books about specific information, and then the people who read the book are going to write that, and they will say that when we read these books, we learn A, B, C, D, right? So I believe it's going to be difficult. So I think, the more like you can think of your initiative and come up with a very concrete and simpler, right? Impacts or direct impacts, it will be better because it will be easy for you to prove it. Getting to know the world. So again, the difficulty in how to prove that. Understand the society, okay, its virtues and its problems again, but yeah, that's what we expect, right? People when they read the book, but how can you prove it? I think that's going to be the challenge. But if you are able to prove it by letters, maybe from the community members, that will be fine. Save water for safe future. Okay, create an awareness session, make posters and flyers, good. Join volunteering groups, wonderful. Encouraging people to use water wisely, wonderful. Encourage peers to join these activities, wow. Impact on the self-improved confidence level. Okay, now you are talking about yourself, okay? Communication skills, leadership skills, wonderful. Impact on peers, they get to know more about the problem and what action they should take to resolve this in the future. Yes, but the issue will be here, you need to prove that, right? Your peers, they need to say that. Impact on the community, when more people are aware, more hands will join together to work on the issue. This is also great, but how can you prove it? So you need to ensure that there is a way to come up with a good evidence to prove what you are saying or what you are including here. Okay, I'll take a look at two more examples. Okay, here I have Alina uploading videos on my YouTube channel about how to stay fit and healthy, okay? So this is again, so the problem is you want to ensure that people are going to be healthy, right? Have a healthy life. And then exercise, helping others to do their school projects. School projects, how is this related to have a healthy life, for example, or to stay healthy? After watching my video, people are giving positive responses. Yes, that could be a good evidence that to show that they have really learned something or that has really impacted their behaviors. That could be a good example. Creating a solar and friction powered biking park near the school to power the school lights. Wow. It reduces electricity consumption. We can also promote the park by keeping an entry fee to maintain the facilities. Yes, you can. What about your efforts? I don't think you have right enough about what efforts that you have done to be able to create that solar biking park. And then again, you want to ensure that you will include good evidences to prove the impact, which is really great. I mean, you all come up with great ideas, but you need to think about the evidences. Okay, Mira, a member of environmental club, conducting workshops. Being a member of the environmental club, that is not enough, right? You want to tell us what the initiative that you have taken. What did you do? So this is what is important. Encourage friends and neighbors, recycling initiatives. Okay, so yeah, but you need to give us more explanation about exactly what you did. So I'm sorry, I'm going to move on because of the time. So let me just look at the one below here by Josh. We have gotten sponsorship for the park, and the evidence is public review and reduce electricity bills and carbon footprints. Sponsorship for the park. Which park? See, Oh, are you talking about that's the recycling? That's the one that you talked about it earlier. Okay, so here I can see we have more. Yeah, the electricity park. Okay, I got you. Okay, for Harshini at our school, I took the initiative to start a unique and innovative club that combined two two seemingly different disciplines, math and dance. The Math and Dance Club aimed to bridge the gap between the art and science. Wonderful, encouraging students to explore the creative side. Wow, that's really great. Okay, this article outlines the effort. So what did you do made to establish this club as well as the positive impact? So it stemmed from my passion. That's great. To start the club, I first pitched the idea to the school administration. I gained their support, okay, and then collaborated with fellow students who shared the similar interests. But you need to say, what did you do? Getting the approval, that's not an effort. And I think you will agree with me on that, right? What is the effort? What did you do? So how did you establish the club? How did you come up with the idea? So you may need to think about the efforts more. Recruiting them as co-founders to help with planning. Yeah, recruiting your friends, that could be one of the efforts. And what about the impact? Wonderful. Thank you very much. I think you all really did great and you came up with great examples. So let me move on now to the best practices forms. Here, I just want you to give you just a very quick example of certificates so you can see how they are written. You can see the signature, you can see the date. For example, it's 2018. You can see, because this is about the students, here it was her, she wants to show the initiative that she participated in, right? And she said that the initiative was give your back to others. So, and it has been considered as the best volunteering initiative in Zaire in 2018, right? So she has given the committee what? Appreciation certificate. It's coming from recognized entity. And here we can see the signature, we can see the date, it's stamped and everything. So that's really a good example of an evidence that you can provide. Also the students here, that's another students also she provided to show the impact of the contribution or of the initiative on her personality. She showed that it enhances her communication skills, and she said that it qualified me to apply for the volunteering work and community service. So by participating in the initiative, seems like she become more confident, right? She has more good communication skills, and she was able to participate in community service event. And here she has also provided two certificates of appreciation, and it's clearly stated that, right? The student has participated in the volunteering work and the community services. All right, so also here the students, she was trying to show the impact, not on the self, on herself, but on the community. And what she did, she has also provided appreciation again later to show the success of the two give your back to others. That's the same initiative, right? Which granted 400 bags that were distributed to the children of low-income families in Yemen. So she provided a letter from an entity in Yemen to say that, to thank her for these 400 bags. Here also what she did, she gathered 10,000 bags. Wow, that were distributed to the students of low-income families. And again, the letter is clearly stated that, right? With her name, with the stamp, with the signature, with the dates, 2020. So this are the good and robust examples of certificates that you can include. Okay, so now let's move on, talk a little bit about the third criterion, okay, for the distinguished student and university students. So now I am moving from the academic to the non-academic field. All right. So here we have the third criterion. Let me just be sure that, yeah, this is, I'm sorry. So this is only for the third criterion. I would like to highlight the third criterion here for the academic and non-academic fields for distinguished student and university student. And if you remember earlier, I said that the third criterion has been now changed. It's different for the distinguished student. So it's not like before. For the university students, it remains the same standards and substandards, but not for the distinguished student. And now we'll talk about it, okay? But it is the same criteria for academic and non-academic fields. The only difference will be the area of talent. You need to connect the standard to the area of talent. So let me start to talk about it now. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight for the distinguished student, okay, the continuity and future plans, academic or for academic and for non-academic fields, but for the distinguished student. What does this mean? What are we talking about here? Okay, this means we are asking you to submit some information about your future goals, right? What do you want to do in the future? About your field of excellence. You are excellent in the area of math. You have proven to have an impact on the society in the area of math. You are great and all of that. Okay, what about the future? What are you going to do? What do you want to be, right? In this area of excellence. So that's it. So here, that's what is important about this criteria. So the first thing, that the first sub-criteria is goals. You need to write a very smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, something can be really logical, that's something you can do, right? Implementable, as we just indicated here too, and realistic and time-bound. Time-bound means there is a timeline, and this is one of the sub-criteria, the time frame. So we need to know, you need to come up with more than one goal. This is for sure, okay? And these are going to be your future goals to show what are your plans in the future for your area of talent. What do you see, where do you see yourself, let's say 5, 10 years ahead, right? In this area. So you need to specify first your goals, and then you need to write the plan, your plan, the phases. To what? To reach your goals, right? You have identified the goals. Now you need to explain how are you going to be able to achieve your goals. So for each individual goal, we expect that you will come up with the phases, a plan. To be able to achieve this goal, I'm going to do this and this and that, for example, 3 phases, or 2 phases, or 4 phases, right? That you will decide to make it clear to us, how are you going to be able to achieve your goal? And as you can see, the points, the total point for this standard is 100 points. Okay? Okay, for the time frame, you need to explain for each goal, right? Or when you write the plan, when you are going to have the plan for each individual goal, how you are going to achieve it, you can just write the dates. Forecasting, right? What do you expect? When are you going to be able to achieve this? Evaluation. How are you going to evaluate yourself? How are you going to do the self-evaluation to ensure that you have achieved your goals, right? Let's say your goal, you want to become, for example, a mathematician in the future. Okay, what could be, how are you going to that's one of your goals, or you are going to develop, let's say, anything, a platform or something in the area of math. What is going to be, how are you going to evaluate the fact that you are going to achieve this goal? First, you can say, for example, to be a mathematician, right? What are the steps that you are going to take? And to ensure that you are going to be a mathematician, that's mean you need to be recognized, for example, internationally. That's going to be the criteria for you to ensure that you will achieve this goal. How are you going to evaluate it? By, for example, what's receiving a PhD degree, let's say in this area, by being recognized internationally by a specific entity. So you can make it very clear and specific. developing a platform, okay? How can you prove that? Or how can you evaluate this, that you achieve it? You will say that it's by having the product, right? That's it. Have the product, use it, people can use it, and there may be people you can do a survey. People they can share with you their feedback about your platform. So that's could be a way to show how you are going to evaluate you can evaluate the achievement of your goals. So that's it. That's exactly it for the distinguished student. So you need to specify goals, the phases, how are you going to achieve them, time frame, and your evaluation plan. Now, for the distinguished university student. For the distinguished university students, as I said earlier, we are still using the same standards as last year. So continuity and future plans, the students is expected to show commitment, reliability, moving forward in the field of excellence, dealing with an ever-changing world, and high readiness to achieve the desired future outcomes through a specific plan. So the goals, the students also are expected to come up with the SMART goals, okay, to show their future plan for the university students. And they need to show us what are going to be the initiatives or the tasks or the projects that they are going to achieve, that they are going to be engaged in to achieve their goals, right? So I have my goal, and what am I going to be doing? What the projects I will be engaged in to achieve my goal? Resources. What resources do you need? Money, human resources. So you need to explain it clearly. What type of resources do you need? Evaluation. How are you going to evaluate? Again, this is exactly like what we just now discussed it for the students, right? How are you going to evaluate it? How are you going to evaluate each individual goal that you have? Okay, so now I have another activity for you. So please, if you can just look it up, and again, yes or no. Okay, and then please do it like last time for the 5 questions. Okay, so now the question is, answer with no or yes to the future plans or future goals that are suitable or befit to the excellence in the field of mathematics, that you find them appropriate, right? And suitable for students who's excellent in the area of math. Open a YouTube channel to deliver lesson in calculus. If that could be a good future goal, yes or no. Second, to complete the bachelor studies in the field of humanities and to get a GPA of 4. To obtain training scholarship in mathematics. Okay. To be a mathematician. To pursue my studies in PhD program in mathematics. So now I want to see your answers, and I hope that you have answered it in the chat box. Let me see. Yes. Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Yes, Alina. Wonderful. Yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Exactly. Wonderful. You all did a great, great, great job. Wonderful. So I guess it's quite clear now. So let's move on to a break time, and we will have a 10 minutes break. So we'll be back 5 minutes after 12. All right. See you in 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Okay, before I start to talk about the Distinguished Student and University Students Awards for the non-academic field, I would like first to make an announcement about the links. I remember one of you have asked me earlier whether you can include a link in the attachment, and I said yes, but actually no. I'm so sorry for this because I just talked to Hamdan Foundation representative, and they said that's not allowed. So you are not allowed to include a link, okay, when you are going to submit your evidences and attachments. So you need to ensure that you have scan your certificates and everything. It has to be submitted as an attachment. So links are not allowed. I just want to highlight that. And now let's move on to the non-academic field. Oh, I just noticed that. I'm sorry. I was speaking, and I thought you can hear me. All right, thank you. So let me go back. Thank you very much for notifying me. Okay, so now we will come back and to talk about the non-academic field, okay, for the Distinguished Student and University Student Awards. But before I talk about that, I would like to correct something that I have indicated earlier about the attachments. I remember one of you asked me if you can submit a link, if you can include a link in the attachment, right? Actually, this is not allowed. I have just communicated this Hamdan Award Foundation, I'm sorry, Hamdan Foundation representatives, and they said this is not allowed. So you are not allowed to include a link as an attachment, okay, or in your attachments. So if you have a certificate or if you have any evidence, you need to screenshot or you need to scan it and include it as an attachment. But links are not allowed. All right. So now let's move on to the non-academic field. As we talked earlier about it, we discussed the three sub-standards: creativity, societal contributions, and continuity and future plans. Okay, what is creativity? What do we mean by creativity? We mean modernity, right? Originality, something that is really new, unusual, and has also, it adds also a social value. So it has an impact on the society. So we are expecting all students, university or other students, you know, from grade 8 to grade 12, who are going to apply for the non-academic area to prove that they are creative individuals. They have developed, could be something, okay, a device, a platform, or you come up with a new solution, new ideas, new methods. These are all can be forms or examples of creativity. So that's what this criteria is about. Moving on to the second, Let's take a look at creativity. Moving on to look at creativity more in depth and its sub criteria, we will see that first you need to include some documents and attachments to show and to prove and to explain your field of creativity. Okay, you are creative, but in which area? So you need to be very specific. And again, don't try to write many areas. Be very specific, please. One area, one field to show your creativity. Number two, you need to also include some evidences about the outcomes. You are creative in the area of mathematics. Okay, what about the outcomes? What did you do? Did you develop a platform, for example? Did you develop a solution in the area of math? Have you come up with a new formula, for example, for people to use? You get me? So this is it. Outcomes. We want products. So that's what is expected from you in the creativity outcomes. Social value. This is about the impact. What is the impact of what you have created or what you have developed, right? Its impact on the society. And we will be talking more about each one individually. But as far as creativity, the points is 450 points overall, okay? So again, that's for the Distinguished Student Award. So let's take a look more in depth by looking at each individual substandard. So if we start with the field of creativity, this dimension determines the field or the nature of creativity. It can be, and of course, there is no limit, right? The limit is the sky. You cannot identify all areas, but here they are giving you some examples like technological creativity, scientific creativity, like that could be your field. I'm creative in the area of science, literary, linguistic, right? And so forth. So, so you need to be clear here. And also another thing you want to include in this dimension is the creativity development methods. How did you develop your creativity? Okay, for the second sub-standard is creativity outcomes. So here we are talking about what are the products that you have produced? What did you develop? Okay, so you need to give us something that is really concrete examples of the products that you have developed. And of course, we expect them to be something original, right? Something unusual, something new and modern. So that's the expectations. Social value. What about, what does it add to the society, what you have developed? Okay, and to what level? The impact of what you have developed. Is it at the local level? We can see the impact, or at the international level. All right, so now I have an activity about this. So I will give you 5 minutes. So if you can write a creativity field, okay, and write for me products. So give me a minimum of 2, let's say 2 products. 2 products for your creativity field, okay, and then write down what are the efforts or the addition, the value, the impact that you have, on the society. If it's, and then you can mention, is it at the local level or at the international level? So now I will give you 5 minutes, and please respond on the chat box. I'll be waiting for you. Okay, now we finish with the 5 minutes. So let's see your examples of the creativity. Okay, so here I have an example of Niharika. So you said sustainability. That's the field of your creativity. So you are creative in the areas of science, sustainability. Let's say that. So what is the product? Create animation for understanding the importance of sustainability. Okay, so that's the product for sure. Representing the school on a local and international level by giving presentation about sustainable efforts. Okay. Shortlisting and presenting my sustainable ideas at Expo. Okay, that's a product. Social media awareness. So you have participated in that. Okay. But what is, so now I can see that like to create animation, it's clear that's a product, right? When I say that I represent the school by giving presentation, what is the product that you provide? It's not clear to me. If you said that probably you have let's say you give a presentation and you developed a handbook, right, or a flyer about that, maybe that's more, it will be more solid. Okay, it will be a good evidence. And shortlisting and presenting, okay, the projects at Expo. Okay, but again, okay, your sustainable ideas. Okay, so you have ideas and you have projects that you have developed. Wonderful. So now the other thing that we need, what is the impact? Developed, okay, the research papers, very good idea, campaign. Okay, so these are all products, campaigning for the integration of sustainability as a subject at the school. Wow. Documenting and leading the efforts of my school in attaining the green flag. Okay, so these, some of it I can see effort and some of them are products. But now we want to see the impacts. So to show us the impact, you may need to bring letters, right, from the schools, from the community, from the people who have attended your presentations or who were there at Expo and attended the exhibition, and let's see their feedback, right? So that would be a good example. Okay, let's see if we have another example here. Public speaking skills. Okay. So if we say that's the area of creativity, you are creative in public speaking, right? And then the impact at the local level. So you have provided okay, presentation to educate youth about the impact of energy drinks. Okay, but here it's not what you did. The impact will be people, right? The people who attended your presentations, they need to provide you with their feedback. So that will be the impact. Okay. But what is the product? At the international level, you said presented a research. Okay, that the research paper could be the product. And presenting it, let's say in a conference, okay, that's not an impact. The impact will be the organizer of the conference letter of appreciation for you because your presentation, for example, it was really great. Or maybe the people, right, who attended your presentation and their feedback on your presentation, that will be the impact. And I hope that's make it clear for you. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much for your participation in this activity. And let's move on to the second criterion. And here I'm going to talk about the societal contributions. And this is about voluntarily initiatives and efforts undertaken by the students in any field other than the field of student excellence. And I think we have talked about this before and you gave an examples of just initiatives, anything that you can do to show the sense of your social responsibility toward your society. And when we talk about the sub criteria for this one, the societal contribution, you just like what we discussed it before, you need to identify the initiatives, right? And you need to explain the efforts and you need to show the impact. Okay, so the same like for the academic, the same one for the non-academic. Okay, moving on to the Distinguished University Student Award. Now I'm talking about university students, right? So for the societal contributions, if you look at the points, is different. Okay, 300 points for the distinguished university students, unlike for the distinguished students, which is 450 points. Okay, so these are the distribution of the points, and it is exactly the same standards. The criteria is the same. All right. So now moving on to the score. Now I'm going to talk, yes, I'm going to talk about the rubrics, okay? And how are we going to assess it? But before I go to the rubrics, because this is going to be more about each individual criteria or dimension and how the committee, right, the jury committee members, how are they evaluating your work? So before we go to the evaluation and the assessment of the standards, let me just stop here and to hear from you. Do you have any questions about the standards, about the academic or non-academic standards? Let's answer those. So because when we start to talk about the assessments and the rubrics, it will be good to have the last section of the questions to be specifically about that. So now I would like to spend some time and to give you some time to ask questions about this area. That's what we have just now discussed, because we have now covered all the criteria, right? All the dimensions and the sub-dimensions for the academic, non-academic, for distinguished student and distinguished university students. Do you have any questions about that? I think we have talked about this. I can see some of the questions that was discussed earlier. So I'll just now wait. Maybe let's talk about it. We'll give you about 5 minutes if you have questions about the standards. Yeah, the public speaking is usually it's non-academic area. No, the evidence should not always be a certificate, right? It can be anything. So it can be your product, right? It can be anything that is strong and it is shows, of course, it depends upon the standard and the substandard. So it should not always be certificate. Development methods, it means akshia, it means how are you developing your skills? Okay, how are you developing it? Are you attending workshops? Are you attending classes and so forth? Do science include the 3 areas? Generally speaking, yes. Yeah, can include biology, chemistry, and physics. Okay, you have any questions about the standards or the criteria, or you want me to move on to talk about the rubrics? Trying to see if you have any questions. Okay, do you have any questions about the standards, distinguished student, distinguished university students? I'll be more than happy to respond to your questions now. I don't think I can see any. And at the end also, we are going to open, I will give you a chance if you want to unmute yourself to ask some questions. Probably we can also have a session at the end for that. Can the societal contribution be done outside of UAE? Of course, yes. Yeah. She's planning to write a book. Okay, if I have submitted sustainability related project as my creative field, what difference should I put in societal contribution? The societal contribution, because if you have submitted the sustainability related project to your to your creative field. That's your area of creativity, right? So the area of creativity is your area of talent. So when you say that your area of talent is sustainability, okay, that's mean like even for the future plans, everything you are going to write is going to be about sustainability. So personally, I would say maybe you need to reconsider and rethink about your creativity area. Probably the sustainability project is more related to the societal contribution. Unless if you feel this is your area, because that's mean your area of talent is going to be science, right? It's going to be science. So you may need to reconsider that and to rethink about that. Can we include English language competency in the academic category? Yes. Yeah. What do you mean by competency? If you are high achiever in the area of English language, yes, that's an academic area. So for sure. All right. Did I miss anything? Okay. All right. So now let's move on to talk about the rubrics. Okay, so if we think about, or if we are going to talk about the academic field, okay, and if you remember when we talked about the distinguished academic for distinguished students and distinguished academic university students, we said that excellence is the first field, right? So excellence, it has some sub criteria or dimensions. Like the first one here, for example, is distinguished performance. So if you take a look at how the jury committee are going to evaluate your work, right? That's how they are going to do it, because they have, you can see there is a clear levels, remarkably exceed the expectations, and here you will get full mark 50, or you exceed the expectations, meet expectations, meet some of the expectation, or does not meet expectations. And based on the level of your work, you will receive the points. So if the student attached more than 3 excellent proofs that are in line with his academic field, right, to show that he is really distinguished students in the area of mathematics, for example. Like you can, like, let's say 2 certificates, and to show that you are really were excelling in math from the school, from the educational zone, and also another certificate from competition that you have participated in, and you were one of the winners in math competition. That will be 3, right? So if you have more than 3, if you have 3, you will get 40. If you have 4 evidences, and they are, of course, all of them are good and excellent proofs, you will get 50. You get me? So that will be for what? For the compatibility and harmony. So here we want to see the evidences you provide, to what extent they are suitable, appropriate, and good evidence, strong evidence. The second let's say, dimension here or axis of judging is the excellence level. The student attached most of the excellence proofs at the international level. So if you have submitted, let's say, if you submitted 5 certificates, 3 of them at the international level, you will get 50, right? And if you look also here at the yellow, highlighted in yellow, this statement, what does it say? If the student attaches equal number of proofs, only the superior proofs would be taken into account. So if you submitted 4 certificates, 2 at the international level and 2 at the local level, you will get the international level. You'll be considered as international, you'll get the 50 full mark. You get it? So that's the way how it is. So that's what I said from the beginning. That's very important. After you review the criteria and all the conditions, you need to look at the rubrics These are the rubrics. You need to look at the dimensions, right? And you need to look at the axis of judging each dimension. What are the jury committee will be looking at? How are they going to give the points? And that's actually now they are making it very transparent. And I truly applaud Hamdan Foundation for this. So this is really, I think now it's clear for the students to know exactly how many points you can get, right? Based on the evidences that you are going to provide. Okay, moving on to the second. Okay, to the second one, that will be development methods. And here we are talking about how did you develop your skills, right? And abilities in your area of academic talent. I am gifted in the area of, or talented in the area of mathematics. Okay, how did you develop it? Did you attend workshops? Did you attend online courses? Did you do more practice? Did you read books on your own? What did you do, right, to develop your skills and abilities? So if you are going to provide more than 5, and again, excellent proof, excellent means they are strong, good evidences, right? Then you will be getting, I mean, they are all in alignment. They are all related to your area of talent, mathematics, for example, you will get the 50 points. If they are more than 3, so that's meaning they are 3 and between 3 and 5, you will get 40 and so forth. So that's the way how it's going to be evaluated. For the diversity component here, it's one again of the axis of judging. How are we going to, I mean, are we going to look at your evidences? Are they diverse? Or are you saying that you attended 5 online webinars in mathematics? If you attended 5 online webinars in math, this is one method, right? That's the one method, attending webinars. But if you attended webinars and you attended workshops, right? And you attended, let's say, or you participated in a contest, these are 3 methods to support you in enhancing and excelling your skills and abilities in the specific area of talent. All right, so if we move on to the third sub-criteria or dimension, which is leadership skills, effective communication and problem solving. So if we look at the exceeded expectation here, the student has a high and distinguished ability to express and communicate any message, information, or request smoothly and simply. The student has attached more than 3 excellent proofs. So you are not going to only submit one proof, right? Not only just one presentation for you, for example, in a conference. If you include one presentation, this will be here. You will get only 15 points. But if you are able to provide the jury committee with 3 examples of your presentations, right? Let's say in a conference, for example, or a presentation to your classmates in a class, or you have also been involved, you know, in any event, right? So the more, of course, and the diverse, you know, participations that you have to show that you are able or you have participated in a debate, that will be all good. So you don't want to provide one proof, and I will say not even one type. So the diversification is good. So when you have different examples, right, and you have more than 1 or more than 3, here you can gain a higher points. Problem solving, same thing. So if you want to show us that you are able, if you remember that when we talked about it earlier, I said that you don't say that I am, for example, have been nominated as a captain leader or a club leader. That's mean I have problem solving skills. No, we want it very explicit. What did you do? What problems did you solve? The more problems and the more examples you can give, more than 5, that will be exceeding expectations. That's something beyond what we can expect, right? But if you have provided the committee with more than three, so that means 4 or 5 proofs, you will get the 30 points. So the number of evidences that you are going to include, the quality of the evidences, these are the main criteria, and they play significant roles in the evaluation of your work. Okay, so if we move now to the excellence in society. This is, again, the fourth dimension. Excellence in society, here, what are we looking at? We are looking at, what did you do? The student has made great efforts and addition that have a clear impact on the society in his area of academic excellence. So excellence in society, it's related to your area of academic excellence, okay? And here you need to show first what addition, the impact, again, what did you do, okay? And if you look at the wording, at the efforts and addition, you can see how the points will be, how are they going to vary? If you made great efforts, great additions, right? So again, that has to be very significant, then you will get the 40 points. If your efforts were clear and it shows strong impact, you will get 30 points. If you have an impact, but it's not very strong, you'll get 20 points. You get me? So you want to show if you believe the impact that you have done, it's really great and it's really significant, you want to be sure that you're going to provide strong proof, strong evidences to show that, to display that. So compatibility, here what we are talking about the contribution to the society that you have made, and to what extent are they really compatible or suitable or matching your field of excellence. So you don't want to include something about sustainability if your area of, let's say, related, for example, to art, if your area of talent, art in the school, right? Remember, we said you can still apply for it if you have good evidences in the school, in the area of art, drawings. It can be also an area of academic. So here you want to ensure that the suitability of your evidences. Impact of the contribution on the personal level. The student stated more than 3 impacts. See the number of impacts that you are going to provide, and again with good evidences. That's where you will see the differences between the points that you will get. Okay, yes, I don't know why there is a line here, but definitely these are all at the personal level. Okay, so efforts and addition at the school or university level. So here we are talking about the impact on others, right? So the student has submitted proof and impact benefits of the addition made in the field of excellence. So the question here is at which level? Because like you can say, what is the difference between the axis of judging number 1, efforts and addition, and the last one, efforts and addition? The difference is that the first one about the level of your efforts, and the last one about the level. Is it at local? Is it at the school? Is it at your class level? Is it at the department? Or it's at the university, or it's at the international level? So that's a difference. Moving on to the second criterion, and that is the societal contributions. So here you have the first dimension is the initiative and its societal field. If you remember, I told you earlier, and I said that you are going to have an empty box where you need to write down about your field of your creativity. So when you write it down, you need to attend to all these criteria. Is it clear and precise what you have written? Okay. Is your area of creativity, is it what you are doing? Is it something original? Is it new or something you have adapted? Right? What about the society? Is the society accepting your initiative? That's very important. We don't want you to come up with an initiative it's not going to be welcomed, right? And if it's not going to be in alignment with the culture of the, or the society. The level of the initiative, is it at the national, international, community, school level? That's important. And that's how also is going to show the differences in the scores you will get. So if I go back and if I look at the clarity and the here, to what extent it's the way how you write it. Is it clear? Is it detailed? Is it accurate? Is it creative? Did you explain it to the people in a creative manner? Because you can just write sentences, right? And you can put it in a graph or a chart to make it more attractive, to make it more in a more creative way. So that's it. So if you are able to write it in a clear, straightforward manner, very creative way, you can get a 50. If you write it clear and the information is accurate and interesting, but not very creative, you can get a 40 and so forth. So the way how you are going to write about it, about the field, it makes a difference. If what you have developed or created, if it's new, something it's really unusual, we'd have never heard about it before, right? You can get a 50. His initiative in his, and again, that has to be related to your field of creativity. If you have submitted, right, is new in his field and has submitted a new initiative, look at the difference. Here, new, but unusual. To get a 50, it has to be something unusual. In the exceeded expectation, it can be something usual, something we hear about, something we have example about, but what you have done, you have adapted it, but it's become also something new, right? But it's not something, I will say, original, like something that is really rare or you cannot really find, right? The student made significant and remarkable improvements. So that's whatever you have developed, it's there, it's existing, but you have added some remarkable improvements. The students made improvements to his initiative. You'll get a 20 if it's just, it's not remarkable, it's not significant, and so forth. Society acceptance. How can you prove that? How can you provide us with an evidence to show that the society is accepting it? By asking entities, by asking the people, and see if you bring, for example, let's say 3 letters from 3 bodies. 3 bodies means what? Like a school can be a body, for example, right? And you can also get from the Ministry of Education, let's say, or from any ministry or from any educational entity, but not schools, okay? That could be a different group of society. Also, you can ask the parents, that could be another group, or you can ask your classmates, peers, that can be another group, or you can ask the community, the neighborhood, you get me, individuals, people who live in your neighborhood, that could be another group, and so forth. So if you have evidences and proofs from people to say that we accept the initiative, it's really valuable to the society, it's really going to add something to the society, but from 3 different categories of individuals, then you will get a 50. Okay, but if you from 3 by 3 bodies, you'll get 40, and so on. That's the number of the groups, it makes a difference here. Level of initiative, and that's, I think, clear, local, school, at the university, at the class level, right, or at the international level. Okay, moving on to the second dimension, it is effort made to implement the initiative. You have an initiative, so what did you do? Remember, you already gave me an example, and I'm very thankful to your participation and to the examples that you have provided us for the initiative that you have suggested. So now let's take a look. Are your efforts clear? Did you present them in a very clear manner and very creative manner? So again, How did you do it? Are you just writing sentences, bullets, or are you putting it in a very creative manner? So the way how you are going to explain or to talk about your efforts, it has to be clear, and you need to think about writing it in a creative way. Okay, creativity. What about your efforts? Are they just like normal things that everybody is doing, or there is a kind of creativity in these efforts? Okay, in the terms of the quality and the quantity of the efforts that you have, that's what you have provided. So we will be looking at how many efforts, right? And the quality of them. And are they innovative? Are they new? Like, do you use, for example, technology? Have you used a new platform, about your initiative to spread an awareness, let's say, about any issue? Okay. How did you do it? Or did you do just a normal workshops and lectures? So it makes also a difference, the way how you have, being engaged, or the efforts that you have been engaged in. And the efforts implemented under the initiative. So if you have submitted more than 5 examples or proofs to show the efforts that you have implemented, then you will get also a higher mark. So the marks are really based on the number of efforts, the level and the creativity of the efforts, and again, the clarity and the creativity, the way how you are going to explain it. Okay, looking at the third dimension, which is the impact on the student and the society. So again, you have to look here and to see the differences so you can see where you are, and to see if you have maybe additional examples, so you may need to use them. If the students have more than 5 clear and remarkable proofs to show the positive impact at the personal level, then you will get full mark, right? And if the students has also provided proofs on the positive impact achieved at the international level, then you get 50. So here the level that will make a difference, and here the number of the proofs at the personal level. All right, so moving on to the continuity and the future plans. So that's the third criterion. And now what I'm going to share with you, this is what is for the distinguished student. Remember, we said for the distinguished student, we have changed the criteria. So they have the goals, they have the phases, they need to include the time frame, they need to include the evaluation. You remember, these are the 4 dimensions. First dimension is goals. I indicated that earlier. I said they have to be smart, specific, clear, suitable, compatible, diversity. So the goals, they should not all be about the same thing. You have to diversify your goals, right? And you can think about it like your goals should not all be about you, right? You can have goals to improve also society. You can have goals to do something for, for your community and so on. But what is important is that, what are your future goals in your area of excellence? And to what extent they are practical and they are measurable. We need to be able to assess your goals. Okay, so the future goals submitted by the students, they are expected to be clear, specific, precise, right? And also characterized by creativity and continuity. See these 2 elements? So that's how you can get the full mark here, get 5 points. So the way how you are going to articulate or to write your goals, you want to ensure that your goals are not really like regular, ordinary types of goals. The goals themselves are creative, okay? And they are also including the continuation. It's not we are saying that I want to be able to become a mathematician, period. That's a goal, there is an end to it, right? So you want to say something about maybe to improve something, or write something that you can see the continuation. You want to see the continuation in your goal. Something is not, there is no end for it. And even if we think about it, let's say, if I think about becoming a mathematician, again, it can still include that the continuation is the way how you are going to write it. Because if I'm going to be a mathematician, I'm going to improve the field of math. I will be coming up with new methods. You get me? As an expert in the field, that's definitely you can contribute to the society all your life. But I mean, how you are going to write your goal, I think that will be the key. The students also compatibility. The students have to write, expected to write more than 5 goals here, okay, to get the 5 points in line with their field of creativity. If you write more than 3, if you have 4 or 5 goals, then you can get 4 points. And of course, again, these goals, they have to be suitable and they have to be clear, right? And the diversity of the goals, I just talked about it, okay? So they have to be different. They are not all talking about one thing. Practicality and measurable, we need to be able to measure these goals. Okay, the phases, we have 2 axes of judging here. Identify the phases. What are the phases for each individual goal? Okay, so the students here see to get the full mark presented more than 5 clear, precise phases. Of course, you are going to come up with more than 5 because you will have more than many goals. So if you think about each goal, if you are going to come up with phases for each goal, you will definitely come up with more than 5. So I don't think that you need to worry about that, but you need to ensure that you have phases for each individual goal. And it has to be clear, and then they need to be compatible and consistent with what? With your goals and with your future plan. All right, moving on to the third dimension, and that will be the time frame. It has to be clear, specifically, what is going to be the time frame? When are you planning to achieve each individual goal? Okay, the students presented a time frame that is fully consistent, with the future goals, and you have here more than 5 examples. 5 examples to show that you are, to show that you have a plan for your for future to be able to achieve your goals. So if you have, let's say, if you have 5 goals, and for each goal you are going to have different plans, right? Different phases, right? And for each phase, if you are going to have a timeline, so that's definitely you are going to have more than 5 examples of how you are going to achieve this goal, right? Because for each goal you have a number of phases, and for each phase you can have a timeline. So, but as far as the evidences, because that's something we're talking about the future, right? The evidences can be something like, because you're going to say like, I'm going to be, for example, I want to become a doctorate to do my PhD in mathematics in the future, okay? So the evidence can be here like, you can write that, okay, I'm going to plan to apply for the PhD in 2030, for example. That's your plan, okay, or 2025. And I'm going to consider these universities. That will be an evidence, right? The evidence will be like your you already have in your mind a clear plan. You know which university that you can apply for. So that could be an example, like for the screenshot for the name of the university, that's universities that you are going to consider, for example. All right, so if we think about the dimension, the third dimension, and that's actually the last one for the continuity and future plans, is evaluation of your own goals, right? You have submitted your goals. You already have 5 goals, for example, and now tell us, how are you going to evaluate? See, if you think about each individual goal and you come up with one way to evaluate it, let's using a survey, doing interviews, doing research, whatever. So you come up with these different types. So if you come up with more than 5, you will get a 10 points. And of course, they have to be in alignment with your goals. And that's a compatibility. All right, so now I'm done with the academic, okay, area. And this is the non-academic area. So if we are going to look at, I'm going to talk only about the first criteria, because this is the only one that is different. If you remember the continuity and future plans, they are almost the same. We said that for the two fields. And also the, which one? The second one, the contribution, right? It's also the same. But the difference in the first criterion. First criterion, academic excellence for the field of academic, and creativity for the non-academic field. So I will explain that, and I'm going to explain to you, I will talk about the rubric for the university students for the last criterion, because I did not explain it. Okay, so looking at the creativity now, here we said that you need to include some examples for the field of creativity. And here you need to write them in a very clear and detailed and creative manner, right? I think we talked about it. It seems like I talked about it maybe for the university, for the distinguished student. And it's the same for the university student, okay? And for the development methods, if you have more than 5 methods, and remember I said also you need to think about them to ensure that your methods are not all going to be the same, to diversify the methods that you are going to use to develop your ability in your area of creativity. Okay, so here, creativity outcomes. And here we have, again, access of judging what is the goal, the target audience, the originality, the creative product, the compatibility with this society, culture, and product assessment plan. I'm talking now, actually, this is the access of judging, right, for the second dimension, which is the creativity outcome. The outcome is the product, right? What are you going to show us as a product to prove that you are creative in this area? And if you remember before, some of you, they were talking about a platform. I think you can talk about the storybooks, anything, any product that you can provide, a piece of art, that can be an example. But let's take a look at what other things that you need to consider in your attachments, in the evidences, because see, these are the axes of judging, 6 areas. First, the goals. So if you look at the 35 points, that's the exceeding, right? The student has clearly identified many goals of the products of his creativity and how to creatively employ his products. So clearly you identified many goals of your products. I developed a piece of art. What is the goal behind it? Just for fun? No, that's not enough. So you need to have a message. You need to have a reason, right? You need to explain to us, right? Or to the community, or to the, I'm sorry, to the committee, to the jury committee. What are your goals? What are the goals? And we expect many goals, not one goal. You are developing a product, something new, something unique, right? So there should be some goals for this product. What do you, maybe you have a problem that you want to solve, right? Probably there is an issue about, for example, if we think about, let's say, bullying. Maybe you want to develop a story to solve this problem. See, so that's a very noble, goal. What other goals? Maybe you want to also, it could be like an awareness campaign. You want to make people aware of this problem. You get me? So the more you can think of the goals of your products, the better. And target audience category, you need to specify who are your audience. If I go back to my example, developing a storybook for children about bullying, so it could be my audience here are the school children, right? Grade 2, for example, grade 4. So you need to identify them and you need to make it clear. And if you can see here, it says if they are more than 3 categories, so 3 groups. If I say I'm here targeting grade 2, grade 4, and grade 6 students, these are 3 categories. If I said I'm targeting the school students and I'm targeting the community members, for example, that's 2 categories, right? So that's how you need to think about it. The originality, whatever you come up with or you develop, is it new? Is it something unique and familiar? You'll get the full point, right? If something is already existing and you have just modified, it was really significant what you have done, again, you can get the 25 and so forth. Creative product. Did you do it alone or did you do it with a group of people? If you did it alone, okay, the student has submitted proofs on the complete uniqueness of his creative and accomplishments. And that's something you have done alone, and it was really significant and something is really great. That's product. You can get the full mark, right? If the student has submitted proofs on the partnership, the product, he did it with somebody else, right? A group of individuals, but the student was able to explain his role very clear, and his role also have been seen by the committee as very significant, he can get still high score, exceed expectations, and that will be 25 points. So it's important for you when you are going, if you have done or you have developed anything with a group of students, you want to explain the role. Okay, you want to show the significant contributions that you have done. Because if you didn't do it, you will lose points, and you don't want to lose points. Compatibility with society culture, again, what about the culture? What about the society? Are they happy with your product or not, right? So here you need to ensure and to check and to get feedback from the society. If you are going to be able to receive high and wide acceptance from the society, from different institutions inside the country and also from outside of the state, let's say if we think about Abu Dhabi and from your Emirates and from other Emirates, that's wide, right? Acceptance by bringing letter of appreciations. That could be good example, and maybe you can get the 35. Product assessment plan. Okay, now you have an outcome, you have a product. You need to have an assessment plan or an evaluation plan. How are you going to evaluate that you have really, achieved what you want to achieve and you have succeeded, right? In this, the development of this, let's say, platform or a piece of art or a book. So, so it's very important if you think about it, like we are not only looking at the product. It's not enough to say that I have done something great. What is really important, why did you do it? What are the goals behind it? Who are the target audience, right? How creative is it? Did you do it alone or with a group? And what about your assessment plan? Do you have a plan in place to assess the, for example, that you achieve your goals? Because you said that I have developed, remembered, I developed the book about bullying to ensure that I'm going to spread awareness. So how can I check that? Maybe I can do a survey, right? So that would be an assessment plan. Okay, so that's the last third criterion for the creativity, is the social value. Social value, as we said earlier, it's about the impacts. So here we are looking at what are the impacts, the efforts that you have done and the addition that you did, right? So to the society, do they have a great impact on the society? Moderate impact, little impact? And this is all will be actually proven by the evidences you'll provide. If what you have developed, for example, if the school asks you to participate, let's say, in a contest, because what you have developed is something really unique. right? And it really has a great impact on the society. And after, let's say, you participated in that exhibition, you have also received, let's say, an award, right? Because it was one of the best. That's clear. There is a clear impact of what you have developed, right? Letters of appreciation could be a good example. Asking you, for example, to participate in a TV program to talk about your product, including your product or discussing it or in the newspapers, okay, or in the schools newsletters, for example. That's a great impact. So you need to think about whatever you have done and to what level, right, this effort or it adds to the society. Beneficiary satisfaction, that's again, whoever you are developing, this creative product. Are people satisfied with what you did? Okay, so you need to provide proof and evidence from the beneficiaries, from the people who are really benefiting from this, from the efforts and from what you have done. And the result here, we're talking about the impact at your personal level. So, and again, the number of the proofs you are going to show that it impacts you at the personal level. If you remember, when I show you some examples earlier about the students who she said she participated in volunteering, I guess, activities, and they were, affected her very positively. She was able to contribute and she has high self-confidence. And she was talking about many things. And she also provided us with, with different certificates, to show that she was able to participate in other events because of her high self-confidence. Yeah, it improves her communication skills and so on. So the more you can come up with, I guess, resulting impacts at your personal level, definitely can impact your score here as well. Okay, so the second criterion is the societal contributions. And here we talk about the initiative, and it is a societal field. And this one, I'm not really going to talk about because we have already discussed that. So it's just exactly the same, but I have just highlighted the first one because it's different for the non-academic field. But now what I want to talk about, yes, this is what I want to talk about, but I want to talk about it for the university students. I have already talked about the third criterion for the Distinguished Student Award, but now I would like to talk about it for the university students because it's different. For the university students, the first criterion is that students, they need to talk, the dimension is the goals, right? So for the goals, it's almost the same like for also the distinguished student. The goals, they need to be clear, they need to be compatible. The more goals you come up with, okay, the higher scores you'll get. They need to be different, diverse. Also, they need to be practical and measurable. Okay. The second dimension is the initiatives. Okay. So for the university students, you need to explain the initiatives. You have goals. Okay. What are the goals? What are the initiatives? And what are the projects that you are going to do, right, to be able to achieve your goals? So if I say that, for example, my goal is to prepare, let's say, an awareness campaign about bullying, okay, what is the initiative that I'm going to do? What are the projects I will do? Maybe the first initiative, I will prepare a website, okay, to support me in my awareness campaign. The second initiative can be like, I will prepare some flyers and so forth. So these are initiatives. These are things you will be doing, right, to help you and support you to achieve your goal. So if you have more than 5 proofs, more than 5, let's say, initiatives, okay, and that are related to your area of, let's say, creativity, because it can be for both. right? It can be for your, if you are applying for non-academic, it will be the creativity area, or if it is an academic, it will be the area of academic. So let's say in the area of excellence, of your excellence, okay? So here you can get the full mark. Clarity, your initiatives, they have to be clear, and originality. If you're going to come up with unique, like now I said, one of the initiatives can be to develop a website. Okay, that's something, I'm not going to say it's unique. Many people are doing websites, but you can make your website in a unique way, right? In a new way. So that's can definitely, I mean, if you can come up with some examples, or if you develop, let's say, a flyer, and if you do it also in a unique way, creative way. So what is important is that the initiatives that you are going to implement to achieve your goals, you need to think about them carefully, and hopefully you have done that, right? But if you didn't do them, that will be for the future, because that's, again, we're talking about future plans. So you need to think about coming up with something that is unique, creative, original, right? And it's really going to be in alignment, of course, to your area of excellence. Then the third sub-axis or dimension is the resources. So you need to identify what resources do you need to be able to achieve your goals or to be able to implement your initiatives. You need human resources. Do you need technology to support you to be able to do that? Do you need internet access? Do you need cash? Is it about financial resources? So what do you need? You need time. That's a resource, right? So you need to think about what are the resources that you need. But I will say that for the future, we said that and attach more than 5 proofs. Here, we're not expecting that you will have evidences, unless if you did it, okay? Because if you can have future plan and you have already started to do some initiatives now, and here you have proofs. But if you don't have the proofs, but it will be still okay. But at least you need to ensure that you have included to us the many resources that you'll be needing, right? Compatibility. These resources, definitely they have to be very much related, compatible, they match your area of excellence. Ways to provide resources, the students very clearly identified several ways. How are you going to get these resources? What will you do, right, to secure the resources? And you need to also, again, at the end, to explain what challenges that you can anticipate. What challenges that you expect that you can get to get the extra cash that you need, or the internet access, or the individuals that you need to work with you so you can be able to achieve your goals. It will be a challenge, okay? And how are you going to be able to overcome these challenges? What will you do? So if you are able to come up with the challenges, with more than 5 challenges, believe me, if you think about any goal, you can come up with 100 challenges, right? So we say that if you can come up with more than 5 challenges, and you come up with ideas of how you can overcome each challenge, you can get the full mark, 15 points. And the number of challenges, and you know, that will make a difference in the scores that you will get. Okay, so if we look at the third dimension, and that will be the evaluation, or again, I'm talking about university students for the continuity and the future plans main axis or dimension. So if we think about the evaluation, here, the students, they have what? Procedures, compatibility, tools and diversity, and duration. So the students, they need to include that. How are they going to evaluate? They need to identify 5 procedures, 5 ways to evaluate what? To evaluate their initiatives. Remember, you have goals, for your future plan, and you have initiatives that you have indicated for each goal to be able to achieve the goal. So the question now, how are you going to assess the achievement of each initiative? Compatibility. Are your initiatives, are your evaluation methods compatible with your initiative? Right? Are they in alignment? Tools and diversity. The tools that you come up with, are they different? Or did you keep saying, I will use, for example, interviews every time for each initiative to ensure that? That's one tool. If you say initiative, I'm sorry, interviews, survey, study or research, I'm going also to do like videotape myself, check and videotape myself if you are going to do anything that's, for example, you are going to do a campaign, to videotape yourself, you are doing the campaign, and then to see whether the way how you present it, the campaign in a good way, you communicate it well. That could be another example. These 4 different examples. For example, the duration, you need to explain also the timeline. The timeline for your assessment, for your evaluation. You said that I'm going to evaluate each initiative by using a specific assessment method, right? I'm going to use a survey. I'm going to videotape myself. I will do an interview. When? Just give us approximate, right? It just, again, it's a prediction, a forecasting, a timeline for when are you going to do that. So this is basically it for the rubrics. And now I just have one more activity before we go to the last session. The last session will be just questions, and I think I hope that you will be able to unmute your microphone if you want to ask questions, and then we can have a more interactive session just to answer your questions and concerns. And this is my last activity, so please read it. I will give you about 5 minutes to read it, and then you can write your answers in the chat box, please. Let me see if you have already started to write on the chat box. So you just need to write down like the fields, right, of creativity. What are the methods the students of development based on the case? And then you need to include the social value. What would be the impact of the students' participation? Where will I find, I don't know, your answers? Let me just go back. Please write your answers to the chat box. Okay, I have here Sashini Mani. Field of creativity is art. Yes, well done, Sashini. Method of development, art workshops, series of lectures, and enrolling in the art school. Yes. So basically what Miriam did, the student in the case, she used 3 methods of development, right? Workshops, series of lectures, and the school. Okay, so the product is, what is the product? The national award, yes. So it's a national award, and that's clear that because she won, right, the national award in an exhibition, and it was about prevent bullying. So it's clear there is a clear message for that, and that's a great impact on the students' work. So wonderful. Yay. Well done. Very good. Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to the last session, and that's about your questions and answers. So if you feel like if you want to speak, you can raise your hand, and maybe we can unmute you so you can ask a question, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Any questions, concerns, comments? Yes, Josh. Yes, I think that question was early in the morning, and yes.
Yes, ma'am. I have a few questions.
Yes,
I
please.
believe for one of the for the continuity and future plans, it says phases. 3.2 is phases, which accounts for 40 points. Could you give an example? Suppose my goal is improving in public speaking. So what would be a phase?
Okay, wait, we're talking about distinguished student, right? So your goal needs to be related to your academic, your area of excellence. So are we now considering, you said public speaking, so non-academic field?
Yes.
Okay, so your area of talent is public speaking. So what is your goal? What do you want to be in the future?
Suppose I want to become a motivational speaker.
Okay, so you want to become a motivational speaker. Okay, so if that's going to be your goal, the phases will be to how are you going to achieve this goal? To be a great speaker, an influential speaker, what do you need to do? First of all, maybe you need to attend courses, right? Or maybe you need to attend the university, probably. You need to go for the media and communication department. You get me? So that could be let's say one of phase one. Or maybe that's, if you are in high school, probably that will be phase one. Let's say if you are in the middle school, probably you will say that I'm going to attend 7 webinars. I'm going to visit some clubs. I'm going to be a member in some of the clubs to enhance my speaking skills. You get me? So it's basically like,
Yeah, I understand.
you get it? So it will be more like, what will you be doing? And what is your plans? When plan one, I will do this, plan two, I will, yeah, that's it.
Understood. I'm sorry, but I have 2 more questions.
Sure, yes.
Yeah, regarding the application, it says on the first page on the website, it says, have you won the award previously? So I have in the 25th cycle, but then it says notes applied by the applicant and enterprise notes. But I'm not sure how to answer these questions because it asks for notes by the applicant.
It says, Ms. Khawla, are you here? I think that will be better, or maybe it will be better if Ms. Khawla, because this is truly, I cannot answer this question. I think that's Hamdan Foundation representatives will be the one to answer your question. Yes, yeah, she's here. Can you hear him?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, ma'am. It says on the first page of the application, it says previous subscriptions, and it says notes applied by the applicant and enterprise notes. So
if you registered before and you received any kind of comments or notes, you can paste it there, or else you can just skip this question.
And it says attach the directory for attending the workshop.
You can take a screenshot of the email you received, the thank you letter.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Khawla.
Welcome.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay,
Thank
any
you,
other
Ms. Khawla.
questions? Wonderful, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Yes. For the societal contribution, only one initiative is enough, right?
Only one initiative? Say it again. We're expecting you to come up with more initiatives.
For the societal contribution.
Wait, you are talking about societal contribution. Let me just open it here so I don't give you a wrong answer. Yes, so it can be one, but if you remember, I think when we said, because this is, we're talking about the volunteer, right? Activities that you participate in. Yep. Okay, yes, it can be one. Yeah.
Like the highest marks can be achieved with only one initiative, right?
If you remember, I think I have to look again at, let me look at it. So it's always good, you know, for continue, it's second criterion. Okay, for the initiative, you have to, they are looking at the clarity, originality, the society acceptance, and the level. No, so yeah, the number of initiatives is not an issue. The issue
thank
is,
you.
yeah, this is what I have just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Hi. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi,
My
good
question
afternoon.
is regarding the Distinguished Academic Student Award. For the submissions for 3 years, is it okay if one of the years has achievements from outside the UAE?
Of course, yeah, that's international level. So what do you mean by achievement? Are we talking about school achievement?
School achievements, academic, and also competitions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but I think if it's school, you need to ensure that's going to be stamped and, and you will have the signatures and all of that. So it has to be official, right?
Okay.
So
Thank you.
yeah, you're very welcome. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, madam.
Hello, Alina. Good afternoon.
Ma'am, I have a doubt regarding academic session. Okay, for the academic, actually, we need to score at least 90% mark, and we need to show our talents and creativity, everything about one particular subject, right? For
Yes.
example, math, science, English.
Yes.
Okay.
But the 90% will be when you are going to, that will be for the average, right? For the all, yeah.
Okay, that means we can select the subject only, right?
Yeah.
Academic
No,
subject only we can take.
Yes, like for the first, what is it called? The first criterion, excellence, you need to specify one subject. But when it comes to the grades, you need to ensure that you are scoring 90% in all the subjects every year for during the last 3 years. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. Like the time at which we did something like the initiative was done, it doesn't matter, right? It just has to be within the 3 years before the year of submission.
Yeah, 3 years before the submission, but when you submit the application, you need to be a continuing student. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Hi, ma'am. I actually had a question. I'm applying the Distinguished Academic Student Award. If we went for a competition within the 3 years and we crossed the national stage and we're representing the country, the international stage, but the international competition is like 2-3 days after the submission for the the submission, then can we count that, or would that not be counted?
You can definitely, include it as you are going to participate in it, right? You have been nominated. Yes, of course.
We have nominated, we'll be going, so I can include that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Ma'am, one more question.
Yes.
I believe the date on the foundation's website, it says the date of submission is, it's given in a particular format. So I don't know if it's the 9th of August or the 8th of September, because if it's the American format of dates. So can you clarify?
Yeah, we'll ask Ms. Khawla can answer this question.
It's in September.
Okay, it's 8th September. Okay,
Good
thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hela.
Good afternoon, Shimita. How are you?
Yeah, fine, ma'am. Can I ask you one question? Out of these 3 years, if one student has studied in another country, like India or any other country, will she be eligible to apply for the award? Out of these 3 years, 1 year she has studied in a different country.
I think she can, right, Ms. Khawla? I don't think there's a problem with that.
Okay, perfect.
Just, I think she needs to ensure that she will meet the criteria.
Yeah, fine.
The grading, yeah. But I don't think it's a problem. Ms. Khawla, maybe she can also confirm that from Hamdan Foundation.
In 3 years?
If she said, she just joined now the United Arab Emirates last day schools. And the last 3 years, she was in another school in India.
No. Out of these 3 years, 1 year she was in a different country, and 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, and the 2 years she's in the UAE?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, Ms. Khawla, I don't think there's a problem. I think that will be fine.
I will get back to you regarding this question. 1 minute.
Okay. She will check, Ms. Khawla, she will check about that.
Okay. And as you told, no links are allowed. Okay. So how about YouTube links or larger files and all?
I think you need to attach it. If you have a YouTube, you just attach it, yeah, as a video.
Okay.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello?
Okay, ma'am, I have one more doubt. That is, if a kid is good at sports, actually we need to apply in non-academic, right?
If you say it again, please, Alina, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
What did you say?
If a kid is good at sports and won so many medals,
yeah, I
okay,
think,
then she needs to apply. She can apply in non-academic only, right?
yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, I had one more question.
Okay.
Regarding the letter of recommendation for the non-academic field from an expert in the field of excellence. So say my field of expertise is linguistics and creative writing and public speaking. So could you suggest certain people, I mean, not the names, but, can I contact the principal of my school, or should I contact the editor of the local newspaper? Would this be allowed, or could you suggest give an example?
Newspaper, editor of newspaper, because an expert, of course, that could be somebody, could be an expert, a writer, for example, book writers can be also, especially if we are thinking about creative writing. You said writing, right? That's one of your area.
Yeah,
for
yes.
example. Yes. And then if there is like a club, you get me, or, where they are also writing center, for example, where they can see example of your work and they can also prove that you have this talent.
Okay, so we just need one letter of recommendation, or can we attach multiple?
I think you can, because if I remember correctly, I think it's if we think about the first, trying to remember, if you think about the first criteria, the excellence, I believe you can include more than one. So my suggestion would be that you better look at, remember, at the rubric. So that will guide you whether you need more or you can, include only one.
Shukran.
I also had another question, ma'am.
Okay.
If you are leading a student-led organization, like you founded an organization and you're continuing with it, then if you have to attach it, then you can't give certification and letter of recommendation to yourself. So who do you suggest that we ask for, letter of recommendation for that?
I really cannot make recommendations here because, there are so many entities and centers in the country. And I think maybe you can, if you just go on the websites, you can start, you can look it up and you will find some. And there are always, experts known. For example, if you think about the area of science, if you have a chance and work with university professors, they considered as experts, you get me? If you went and worked, for example, participate in contests, maybe this is organizations or associations, they are more into the area of the science, they can be also considered as experts and so on. So it's really difficult, and I don't think it's going to be appropriate for me to identify specific entities because there are so many. So I would say that you better, when you look it up, I think you will find so.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Maybe Khawla, you will tell me if there is no question. I think we will sum it up.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have achievements in like sports and science related things. So I can only, if I apply to my academic field, I cannot include any of my sports achievements.
You can. Sport is part of the physical education classes. That's education.
So, okay, and in my academic field, I can have a mixture of different subjects like science, math, or
no, has to be one area. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I also had another question. So if you do a community-based event, like you have organized it, then would testimonials of the people who have attended the event or the conference count? Would that be fine?
Absolutely. That's so huge. Yes. Yeah. So
Great.
their
Thank you.
feedback, that would be a great, proof to show the impact and the benefit of what you have presented. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Seems like I think we are now about to conclude our session for today. Thank you very much. And I really hope for all of you the best. And you all have a good afternoon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Hala.
Thank you very much, Ms. Paula. Thank you for having me. Have a good day.